It's finally happened. You've had your big break. All this time you've been able to go through the linear process of goal setting and achieving a goal. Now it's time for you to ante up, and it's time for you to continue going next level, and basically you're starting the process completely over again. And that process is very simple. You see, it's becoming a student to the land and the laws of success. And although you have a level of familiarity, you don't really know exactly what it is or what it's going to take. That's going to allow you to be able to infer change. What kind of change you're going to go, what kind of new challenges and new struggles. But here's what happens. You move in with a certain type of tenacity, with a certain type of capability, and with a certain type of energy. And all of a sudden, it happens. You come to a halt. You come to a stop. And it's not so much that it's a letdown or it's a fall, you see, because those are going to end up happening. You're used to those obstacles because maybe that's what you faced the first time. It was setback after setback, or an obstacle after another obstacle, or a repeat fall. But now you're in a position where you really can't move because you're stuck. And maybe it's because you're encountering a system or requiring some people who are in a position where you need their input, or you need their contribution in order to be able to move, and you're not getting it for whatever reason. And so now you're finding yourself in this new situation, and that is all about a new skill. You see, in our minds, we understand that the laws of education move as so. When you're smart enough, or you've developed one skill, then you can move to a new skill of something you have not yet attained that's going to move you into a more capable position. And that makes perfect sense among many obstacles in life, not just education, but it's always when you combine the psychology and emotionality of something you're trying to accomplish. Somehow, that little voice in our head, which we call the unconscious, which is a recollection of every single experience that you've ever encountered, shows up, and that show up throws you off guard, and it brings to light something more powerful and something even stronger that you have not yet went through. And that hit, that obstacle, that challenge, whatever it may be, manifests itself in such a way, and now you're in a position where you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out something new. And my friends, I'm here to tell you that that has to happen, because there is no scalability with your mind, with your psychology, and with yourself if you are not committed to devotion to change and everything that encounters. And many times that's what ends up messing us up. You see, it's not the idea of actually taking the strides, and it's not the idea of actually moving progressively towards something, but in fact, what it actually is it is the intimidation and overwhelming emotional drop of feeling like we're lost and not knowing where we're going that will stop you. And so I think what you have to think about and what you have to begin to understand is, how are you going to put yourself in a position where you're capable of being able to look at the circumstances in your life as opportunities? Can you look at something and see it as favorable? Can you see it as something that's going to challenge and distinguish you amongst the people? And even though you're going through that hardship and it sucks because right now you're in the trench and your maybe face is down in the mud, or you're standing against that immovable object and you don't know how to circumnavigate your way, do you know that your ability to take the first step and find proactivity, even if it doesn't work the first, second, 10th time, is building you for success? And that is what scalability is about. So I encourage you really to do two things. Don't get comfortable. Keep in mind the whole premonition, the thought process behind everything that we've talked about is after already achieving. And so many people achieve, and they come with that conviction, that mindset, and that tenacity of being done, and it does not happen. You see, you only serve a checkpoint and cross the finish line to then start across another line. And then when you've started that process and you begin to go, you begin to execute, you begin to challenge yourself, now it is time to suit up and upgrade your armor, upgrade your mind, and upgrade the tools and the resources you will need to be a warrior and a champion in life. And when you're able to do that, I can promise you that you're going to have the skill sets you need to take on bigger challenges. And that is where your hero's journey will begin.